Okay, I want to start today with a mental exercise. I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving. Please don't close your eyes if you're driving. And I want you to visualize a pile of money.
Everybody loves a pile of money.
Right, but I'm not talking about a suitcase full of cash. I'm not talking about a bank vault. I want you to visualize a number so large that the human brain actually uh, struggles to process it. 50
Mm.
trillion dollars.
It is a staggering figure. I mean, it's almost meaningless. It's so big.
It is.
To put that in context for everyone, that is roughly half of the entire global GDP in any given year.
Half the world's economy.
Yeah, and it's more than the market cap of every single company on the S&P 500 combined several times over. It's a truly astronomical number.
Exactly. And usually when we throw around numbers like trillions on this show, we are talking about something. Something abstract. We're talking about the U.S. national debt or the notional value of derivatives or some future projection of like what the AI market might be worth in 2040. But this isn't that. This isn't imaginary money.
No. And it's not a bailout package from the IMF. It's not some new aid bill being debated at the UN. It's not money that needs to be printed by the Federal Reserve.
This is the part that genuinely stopped me in my tracks when I was reading through the source material for today. This $50 trillion is already here. It exists right now, today, Friday, February 13th, 2026.
Right now.
It is sitting in the global south. But, and here's the catch, it is invisible. It is buried in the soil. It is locked inside the bricks of informal housing in Rio, in Mumbai, in Lagos. It is what economists call dead capital.
Dead capital. It's a term that was popularized by the economist Hernando de Soto, and it is the absolute foundation of the deep dive we are taking today.
It really is.
We are looking at a really fascinating set of writings by Paramendra Kumar Bhagat, and he's specifically focusing on the intersection of technology, governance, and this massive locked vault of wealth. The core thesis is that we have been looking at global development completely wrong for, 50 years?
We've been playing the wrong game.
We've been playing the wrong game with completely the wrong tools. We've been showing up with hammers when we needed a keyboard.
So today's mission is pretty ambitious. We are going to explore how to unlock that $50 trillion. And the answer, according to our source, isn't about sending more food aid or building more dams.
No.
It's about re-engineering the operating system of these countries. It's about GovTech. It's about digitizing land. And this is the curveball I did not see coming. It's about redefining what a social network actually is.
It sounds like a strange pivot, I know. It sounds like a total non sequitur.
It does.
But by the end of this hour, I think you'll see why the future of poverty alleviation might look a lot less like a construction site and a lot more like a social media app.
But not the kind of social media app we're all addicted to now.
Not at all. A completely different beast.
We're definitely going to get to that. But first, we have to set the scene. We have to talk about the status quo. Because for the last decade, maybe 2 decades, if you walked into a developing nation and asked, how do we fix this economy? There was one dominant answer.
One very big, very visible answer.
And it usually involved concrete.
Right. We are talking about the infrastructure boom, and specifically the China model, the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI.
The BRI. It's been the biggest story in global development for a long time. It's impossible to ignore.
It has. And we have to give credit where it's due. The scale is just undeniable. China went into Asia, Africa, Latin America, and they built things.
Real things.
Tangible, visible things. Massive suspension bridges, deep water ports, high-speed railways, pipelines. You can see them from space.
It's the ribbon-cutting theory of development. If I'm a president in a developing nation, nothing looks better on the evening news than me standing in front of a giant new bridge holding a pair of golden scissors.
Precisely. It projects power. It projects progress. And for a long time, the U.S., the EU looked at this and they panicked.
Totally.
They thought, we are losing the influence game. So they tried to compete. They launched their own partnerships, promised their own infrastructure projects. They tried to match the BRI narrative for narratives.
We can build bridges too. Ours just come with more environmental impact studies.
Exactly. But the critique in our source material, and it's a very sharp one, is that this is a trap. Both sides, China and the West, are playing an old game. They are obsessed with hardware. They are obsessed with atoms.
While the real revolution is in the bits.
Yes. And there is a much deeper, more fundamental problem with this hardware model. Let's say an external power comes in and builds a port in your country. Who designs it?
They're engineers?
They're engineers. Who funds it?
They're banks.
They're banks. And who often operates it,
They're companies.
right? And if you can't pay back the loan for this shiny new port, they might end up owning it. We've seen this happen. It creates dependence. It's the classic distinction. The BRI model gives you a fish, a very large, very expensive concrete fish.
Right.
But it doesn't teach you to fish. In fact, it might make you totally dependent on them for all future fish.
It doesn't build sovereignty.
It actively erodes it. And this is where Paramendra Kumar Bhagat's argument pivots so sharply. He argues that instead of building things for governments, the goal should be to build capabilities within governments. We shouldn't be exporting cement. We should be exporting what he calls the tech stack of sovereignty.
I love that phrase, the tech stack of sovereignty. It sounds like something out of a cyberpunk novel.
Mm-hmm.
But let's ground this. Why is this digital stack better than a bridge? How does software unlock that $50 trillion we talked about at the top?
Okay, to understand that, we have to go back to the dead capital problem. And I think the best way to explain this is to stop thinking like economists and start thinking like a regular person living in the global south.
Okay.
Let's imagine a guy. Let's call him Ravi.
Okay, Ravi. Where does Ravi live?
Let's say Ravi lives in a rural village in South Asia, or maybe on the outskirts of a city in East Africa. The geography matters less than the condition.
Got it.
Ravi lives in a house that his father built. His grandfather farmed the land around it. Everyone in the village knows it is Ravi's house. The neighbors know. The local shopkeeper knows. If you asked anyone, whose house is that? They'd point to Ravi.
So he owns it. It's his.
In a social sense, absolutely, yes. But in a legal, formal sense, he has nothing. Maybe he has a tattered piece of paper from a village council meeting in 1985. Maybe he has nothing but oral history passed down.
So to the global financial system.
To the global financial system, Ravi is a ghost, and his property does not exist.
Okay, so he's informally holding the land. Why does that matter so much? I mean, he has a roof over his head. He can farm the land.
It matters the moment Ravi wants to grow, the moment he has an ambition beyond subsistence. Let's say Ravi wants to buy a tractor to double his harvest. Or maybe he wants to open a small repair shop for motorcycles.
Yeah, he's capital.
He needs capital. He needs a loan. So he puts on his best shirt and he walks into a bank in the nearest city.
And I think I can see where this is going.
Right. He sits down with the loan officer. He says, I have a house and 5 acres of land. It's worth, say, $50,000. I want to borrow $5,000 for a tractor. The banker asks, okay, great. Can I see the deed? Can I see the title?
And Ravi pulls out the tattered napkin from 1985.
And the banker just shakes his head. He can't accept that. He can't put that in a file. Without a formal legal title, that land cannot be used as collateral.
Why not? The bank could just take the land if he defaults, couldn't they?
But how? Legally, Ravi doesn't own it, so how can the bank see something he doesn't legally own? They can't. There's no legal mechanism. So the banker says, sorry, no.
So Ravi walks out.
He walks out, he goes back to his village, he doesn't get the tractor, he continues to farm with a hoe, his productivity stays low, his income stays low. That $50,000 asset, his land is dead. It can't work for him, it's just sitting there.
Now, multiply Ravi by
2 billion people. That is the $50 trillion.
Debt of the $50 trillion. It is a massive ocean of wealth that is completely frozen because of a lack of documentation.
That is
Okay.
just so frustrating. It's so heavy. Because the wealth is right there. It's not like we need to discover gold or invent a new technology. We just need to write down who owns the dirt.
Exactly. But writing it down in these contexts is incredibly difficult, or at least it used to be. Historically, it meant sending surveyors out with poles and chains. It meant navigating these incredibly corrupt local bureaucracies where you had to bribe someone to file a piece of paper.
A nightmare.
It would take decades and cost a fortune. But the source argues that the game has completely changed. This is where the GovTech comes in.
Right.
And we aren't talking about GovTech in the sense of a boring government website where you download a PDF form to renew your driver's license.
No.
We were talking about re-engineering the country's entire operating system using modern tools. The source outlines a very specific stack to solve Ravi's problem. Okay, let's build this stack. What's the first layer? What's the bottom?
The first layer is the eyes. Space tech. Satellite-based land mapping.
Okay, but satellites have been around for a while now. We have Google Earth. I can go online right now and see my house on Google Earth. What's different here?
You can see it, that's true, but Google Earth doesn't define the legal boundary with centimeter-level precision. Modern commercial satellites, combined with drone technology, can scan a country with incredible resolution. But the real magic isn't just the picture, it's the AI that analyzes it.
How so?
Well, you feed these terabytes of images into an AI model. The AI looks at the landscape, it sees a stone wall, it sees a line of trees that's been there for 100 years, it sees a ditch. And it says there is a 99% probability that this is a property boundary. It creates a preliminary map of every single plot in the nation automatically.
So you don't need the guy with the pole hiking through the jungle for 3 years.
Exactly. You skip the manual survey entirely. You can map an entire nation in months, not decades. But having a map is only step one. That just tells you there is a plot of land. It doesn't tell you it belongs to Robbie.
Right, it's just shapes on a screen.
Yeah.
So how do we connect Ravi to the map?
This is the second layer, the registry. And this is where the source gets really specific about how we store this data. It advocates for blockchain land ledgers.
Okay, hold on. I have to put on my skeptic hat here for a second.
Please do.
Every time I hear the word blockchain, my mind immediately goes to crypto scams and, pictures of apes for sale for millions of dollars. Is this just buzzing up the script? Why do we need a blockchain for a list of houses? Why not just an Excel spreadsheet or a normal database?
That is absolutely the right question to ask. And the answer has nothing to do with currency and everything to do with trust.
Trust.
Trust. Imagine the current system in many of these countries. There's a paper ledger. Maybe it's in a dusty, damp basement of a government building. What happens if a powerful local developer wants Ravi's land? He might just bribe the clerk. And the page with Ravi's name on it accidentally gets torn out, or coffee gets spilled on it. Or a new page is expertly pasted in saying the developer owns it now.
The elite land grab. We hear about this all the time.
Exactly. A centralized database, even a digital one, can be edited by the administrator. If the administrator is corrupt, the truth is malleable. A blockchain is an immutable ledger. Once an entry is made, Ravi owns plot 402, it is cryptographically sealed.
And its distributor.
It's distributed across thousands of nodes, thousands of computers. You cannot tear the page out. You cannot hack one single server to change it. You'd have to hack the entire network at once, which is practically impossible.
It's a truth machine.
Ideally, yes. It creates a record that is highly resistant to bribery and tampering. For the poor, for the powerless, that is a revolution. It means their ownership relies on mathematics, not on the goodwill of a local politician who might be in someone's pocket.
Okay, I buy that. That's actually a really compelling use case. So we have the map from the satellites, and we have the ledger, which is the blockchain. But we still need to know who Ravi is. We need to tie a person to that plot.
And that's the third layer. Digital identity. The source points heavily to the India model here, the Aadhaar system.
Right, the biometric ID. I've read a bit about that. It's massive.
It is the largest digital ID program in human history. Over 1 billion people have been scanned. Fingerprints, iris scans. It's not without its controversies, of course, but at its core, it proves you are who you say you are with a very high degree of certainty.
Okay, so let's put the whole stack together. Walk me through it one more time.
You have the satellite map that defines the plot of land.
Right.
You have the digital ID that defines the person, Ravi.
Okay.
And you have the blockchain ledger that links the two together permanently and immutably. Map, person, link.
And suddenly, Ravi isn't a ghost anymore.
No. He has a digital asset. He has a title that he can view on his phone. On his phone. That's key, right? We aren't mailing him a fancy certificate with a wax seal.
Mobile first. That is absolutely non-negotiable. In huge parts of the global south, the desktop computer basically skipped a generation. Everyone operates on mobile. If this entire system doesn't work perfectly on a $50 Android phone, it doesn't work at all.
So let's go back to Ravi. Let's send him back to the bank. The system is built. He has his phone. He has his digital deed. What happens this time?
This brings us to section 3 of our discussion, the multiplier effect, because this is where everything starts to accelerate.
Okay.
This time, Ravi walks in. He doesn't have a tattered napkin. He opens an app on his phone. He shows the banker a QR code.
That's it? A QR code?
That's it. The banker scans it. Instantly, on the banker's screen, up pops the satellite image of Ravi's land, verified by the blockchain, linked to Ravi's biometric ID. The system confirms everything.
The banker knows it's real. There's no question.
He knows it's real, he knows exactly where it is, and he knows nobody else has a claim on it. The risk, from the bank's perspective, creates a crater. It disappears.
What the banker says.
The banker says yes. Ravi gets the $5,000 loan.
And he buys the tractor.
He buys the tractor. His crop yield doubles, maybe triples. He pays back the loan. Maybe he takes out another one to buy the neighbor's plot. The local economy starts to churn. Money starts to move.
And this isn't just one guy. This is millions of people all at once.
That is the unlock. When you do this at scale, you aren't just helping individuals, you are jumpstarting the entire engine of capitalism from the bottom up. And notice, this is so important, where did the money for the loan come from?
It came from the local bank.
Right. It didn't come from the World Bank. It didn't come from a Chinese loan with strings attached. It was domestic capital circulating within the domestic economy. That is true economic sovereignty.
But wait, if everyone is suddenly registering their land and getting loans,
Yeah.
surely the government wants a piece of this action.
Oh, absolutely. And that is the second massive multiplier effect. Tax efficiency.
The word tax usually makes people groan. It's not a very exciting multiplier.
It does. But look at it from the perspective of a local mayor in a developing town. You want to fix the potholes. You want to pay the school teachers. You want to pick up the trash. But you have no money. Why?
Because you can't tax what you can't see.
Exactly. You can't collect property tax because you don't know who owns what. You are flying completely blind.
So you have this huge asset base in your town, but it's all off the books.
Completely off the books.
Yeah.
But with a digital cadastre, that's the fancy word for a land map, the government suddenly has a tax base. They know who owns every square meter. They can send a bill to the owners.
And Ravi might not love paying it, but
if that tax money goes to building a road that helps Ravi get his crops to market faster, or a school for his kids, it's a virtuous cycle. It converts that dead informal wealth into tangible public goods.
this sounds almost too clean, though. What about the really messy places? The source mentions urban development. Slums are messy. You have shacks built on top of shacks. Can you really digitize a slum?
It's harder, no question, but it's even more critical. Think about why slums are slums. It's not just about poverty. It's about a lack of services. Why doesn't the water company run pipes into the slum?
Because they don't know if they'll get paid. And who would they even send a bill to?
Exactly. Who gets the bill? Third shack on the left by the blue tarp is not a billing address. But if you digitize the slum, if you use this system to give every shack a digital ID and a geocode, suddenly the utility company says, okay, we have 500 potential customers here.
They have a market.
They have a market.
Yeah.
So they lay the pipes, they run the electric lines, the slum starts to upgrade into a neighborhood.
It's the transition from squatter to citizen, from invisible to visible.
Exactly. And that psychological shift is just as powerful as the economic one. When you have an address, you exist. You are part of the system.
I want to touch on one more multiplier of the source list before we move on. Foreign investment. Because earlier we kind of bashed the foreign savior model.
Yeah.
But this invites them back in.
It invites them in on completely different terms.
Yeah.
Right now, if I'm a big multinational company and I want to build a factory in, say, a remote province in a developing nation, I am terrified.
Terrified of what? The government.
Terrified that after I spend millions to build the factory, someone is going to come out of the woodwork and say, hey, that's my granddad's land. Get out. Land disputes are an absolute nightmare for investors.
I can imagine.
If the land registry is shaky, if it's a bunch of papers in a basement, capital stays away. It's too risky. But if there is a transparent, blockchain-verified ledger, I can trust it. I can look at the record and know with mathematical certainty that the title is clean. I can invest.
So it de-risks the entire country for investment.
It creates a high-trust environment using code. And capital loves trust more than anything else.
Okay, so up to this point, I am fully on board. We map the land, we list it on a ledger, we give people ID, and we unlock the economy. It's logical, it's structural, it's GovTech. But this is where the source material takes that turn we teased earlier. And honestly, when I first read the outline, I had to reread it because I thought I had skipped a page or something.
The pivot.
The pivot. The source starts talking about social media, and not just as a marketing tool, but as a core part of this entire solution.
It feels disconnected at first, doesn't it? We were just talking about satellite geodesy and banking regulations, and now we are talking about likes and shares.
Right. It feels like saying, we're going to solve the housing crisis with TikTok. It just doesn't compute.
But hear me out. This is actually the most visionary part of Bhagat's argument. To understand it, we first have to really critique the social networks we have today.
Which is easy to do. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Very. What is the business model of Facebook or X or Instagram? What are they selling?
My attention. They want my eyeballs glued to the screen for as long as possible.
And how do they keep your eyeballs? What's the secret sauce of the algorithm?
Usually by showing me things that upset me.
Yeah.
Or things that confirm my biases. Or addictive short videos that numb my brain.
Exactly. The antisocial algorithm. They monetize conflict and distraction. The source calls this the consumer internet. It's designed to isolate us. We doom scroll for 3 hours, and at the end of it we feel lonelier and more anxious. We haven't accomplished anything.
We've just burned time. We've converted our time into ad revenue for them.
Precisely. Now, imagine you are Ravi again. You have a smartphone, data is expensive, you have real pressing problems. You need that loan, you need to fix your roof, you need to sell your crops. Do you need an app that just shows you funny cat videos?
I mean, everyone likes cat videos, but no, it's not solving his problem. It's a luxury he can't afford.
Right. So the source proposes a radical redefinition. What if we built a real social network, one where the goal wasn't to keep you online, but to push you offline?
To push you offline. That sounds like a terrible business model for a tech company.
For an ad-based company, yes, absolutely terrible. But not for a utility. Think of this new network not as a place to post selfies, but as the user interface for sovereignty.
Okay, unpack that. Interface for sovereignty. What does this app look like when I open it? What do I see?
Okay, so Ravi opens this app. It's not an infinite feed of news and outrage. It's a dashboard.
Okay.
He logs in with his face biometric security. The first thing he sees is his profile, which is his verified digital ID.
Okay.
Then he sees his assets, his land is there, pulled directly from the blockchain ledger. Maybe he has a digital title for his tractor now, too.
So it's a wallet for his life's most important assets.
It's a wallet, but it's social. He can see his neighbors, not just their meme posts, but their verified status. Let's say there is a dispute. The neighbor says, "Your fence is on my land."
The classic neighbor feud.
In the old world, this leads to a fight, maybe violence, maybe a generational grudge that lasts for decades. In this app, they open the dispute resolution feature.
There's a feature for that.
There's a feature for that. They pull up the satellite map. They overlay the legal boundaries from the blockchain. They can see down to the centimeter where the line is.
Look, the blue line is here, the fence is there. Move the fence.
Dispute resolved instantly, without involving lawyers or courts. But go further. Let's say the village needs a new well. In the current social media world, maybe they start a hashtag about how thirsty they are.
Hashtag we need water. And it trends for a day and then nothing happens.
Nothing happens. In the real social network, they use a community action feature. They form a verified group. They pool funds real money because the app is also a bank. They vote on where the well should go. They hire a contractor.
And the contractor is also on the app.
The contractor is also on the app with a verified reputation score based on past projects. It connects all the pieces.
So it's LinkedIn meets Nextdoor meets a bank meets the government. It's all integrated.
Yes. It connects people to power and property. It creates what the source calls functional density. The social graph isn't just about who do I know, it's about who can I build with.
It's function over distraction. The entire goal is different.
Exactly. If the app is successful, your personal GDP goes up. Your community's quality of life goes up. You aren't just engaged, you are empowered.
I have to ask, though, and this is the skeptic in me again, if this app is connected to the government and the land registry and the bank, isn't this the ultimate surveillance tool?
Yeah.
I mean, if the government knows I own the land and they know who I'm talking to and they know where I'm spending my money, that sounds a bit Big Brother.
That is a massive concern, and it's the double-edged sword of all GovTech. If you build a system that can see everything to help you, it can also see everything to control you.
Right. Sovereignty can quickly turn into control. They're two sides of the same coin.
The source acknowledges this implicitly by focusing on decentralization. Remember the blockchain ledger. The whole point of a properly designed blockchain is that no single entity, not even the government, has total control to rewrite history.
So the architecture itself has to be the check and balance.
It has to be. The data should belong to the user. Ravi should own his data in the same way he owns his land. If he wants to share it with a bank to apply for a loan, that's his choice. It shouldn't be a government dragnet. The design of this social network matters immensely. It has to be built for the citizen, not for the state.
Let's pivot to the financial layer of this app. The source uses a term I really like: velocity money.
Velocity money. It sounds fast.
It does.
Ah.
And we're back to the plumbing of the economy.
Yeah.
What is the problem with money in the global south right now? What's the friction?
It's slow and it's sticky. And sticky in a bad way. A lot of hands grab at it as it moves.
Intermediaries.
Intermediaries everywhere. Let's look at remittances. This is a huge part of the economy for so many countries. You have a worker from Kerala working construction in Dubai. He wants to send $200 home to his mother.
He goes to a wire transfer shop.
He goes to a shop. He pays a $10 fee to send it. The exchange rate is bad. He loses another $10 there. It takes 3 days to arrive. His mother has to travel for 2 hours to a town to pick it up in cash. She pays a fee to receive it. By the time the money gets there, Maybe $180 is left, and days have been wasted.
It's a tax on the poor levied by inefficiency.
It is. Velocity money is about removing all that friction. The source points to India's UPI, the Unified Payments Interface, as the model for this.
I've read about UPI. It's incredible. It seems like a miracle of modern finance.
It really is. You can buy a cup of tea from a street vendor for 10 cents, scan a QR code on a laminated piece of paper, and the money moves instantly, bank to bank, with zero fees.
Zero fees.
Zero fees. And it happens 10 billion times a month. It has totally revolutionized the Indian economy. The source argues we need to take that stack instant payments and combine it with the blockchain ledger for traceability.
My traceability. I thought we just said we wanted privacy.
For the user, privacy. For the system, traceability. And think about the other side of the coin. Foreign aid. The West sends billions in aid to developing nations.
And we always hear stories about how it just disappears.
It leaks. It goes to a ministry, then a local department, then a contractor. And by the time it reaches the village clinic it's supposed to fund, the money is gone. Corruption is basically just leakage in the pipes.
So how does velocity money fix that?
Programmable money.
Well,
If I'm a donor and I send aid via this blockchain system, I can program that dollar. I can say, this digital coin can only be spent at a certified pharmacy wallet.
you can lock the destination. You can put rules on the money itself.
Yes, the minister can't take that aid money and buy a Ferrari. The Ferrari dealership's wallet won't accept it. You can track that specific dollar from the donor in London all the way to the syringe in the Congo.
That changes the trust equation completely for aid.
It destroys the argument against aid, the old excuse of, we can't send money, they'll just steal it. Well, not if the money itself is incorruptible.
So let's recap the whole system. We have the map from space, we have the digital ID, we have the social network that acts as the user interface, and we have this high-speed programmable money running through the veins of the system.
It is an operating system. That is the metaphor that holds up all the way through. We are upgrading the OS of the nation state from bureaucracy 1.0, which is paper lines and bribes, to sovereignty 2.0, which is digital, instant, and transparent.
So the big question, is this actually happening anywhere? Or is this just a really cool white paper dream?
It is happening in pieces. India has the ID and the payments. Rwanda has made huge strides in land registry. Estonia has a fully digital government. But nobody has put it all together into the single social network for uplift package yet.
And that is the call to action in the source material.
That is the blueprint for the next 5 years. The source is calling for a coalition. Tech firms, philanthropists, forward-thinking governments. The message is, stop building ports. Stop playing the old game. Build this digital infrastructure for governance.
It's a pivot from debt diplomacy, which is the BRI model, to what the source calls planetary uplift.
Planetary uplift. It's a beautiful phrase. It implies that we are all on the same ground. If the global south rises, the whole planet lifts. It's not a zero-sum game.
And there's an interesting geopolitical angle here, too. The source suggests the West is sleepwalking, that we're missing this.
It is. The argument is that the West is distracted by its own internal culture wars and regulatory fights over yesterday's tech platforms. Meanwhile, the opportunity to define the future of the global south is right there. If the West helped build this OS, and OS based on transparency and property rights, that is a massive win for democracy.
Versus an OS based on surveillance and control.
Exactly. The code is political. The architecture of the system determines the freedom of the people who use it. This is the new battlefield of ideas.
There's also this concept of leapfrogging. We touched on it with mobile phones skipping landlines.
Right? The Global South never built landlines. They jumped straight to mobile.
Yeah.
The argument here is that they can leapfrog the West in governance in exactly the same way.
How so? We have banks and property registries.
But look at the U.S. Our banking system is ancient. A wire transfer can take days. Our real estate system is archaic title insurance, escrow agents, mountains of paper, weeks to close. It's incredibly hard to change because there are so many incumbents making money off the inefficiency.
We are stuck with our legacy code.
Exactly. But a country like, say, Malawi, they don't have those powerful legacy systems. They have a blank slate. They can build the Star Trek version of governance from scratch because there's nothing to tear down first.
That is a wild thought, that in 10 years, it might be easier to buy a house and start a business in Nairobi than it is in New York.
It is entirely possible. If they adopt this stack, they will be running a faster, leaner, fairer operating system than we are.
That brings us back to that number from the beginning, $50
Yeah.
trillion. It's not just money, it's potential. It's human energy that is currently locked up.
It's the hidden wealth of nations. It's just waiting for the key, and the key is code.
I want to end with a thought experiment for the listeners to really bring this home. We talked about how we measure the success of apps today, time on site, engagement, addiction,
A terrible metric for humanity.
a terrible metric. Now, imagine a world where we measured the success of a social network by the GDP growth of its user base.
Wow. That is a profound shift in thinking.
If Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk only made money when you made money, how would the algorithm change?
It would change completely. It wouldn't show you a fight. It would show you a job opportunity. It wouldn't show you a conspiracy theory. It would show you a loan application for your small business. It would optimize for your prosperity, not your outrage.
That is vision of the real social network. And honestly, after diving into this, it makes the current version of the internet look pretty sad and trivial.
It looks like a toy.
Right.
And we need tools.
Rejoice, fellow idea guys, time to build.
Yeah.
That's the quote from the source that sticks with me.
Let's hope they build it.
Indeed. Look at the ground differently today, folks. There's gold in the dirt if we can just figure out how to verify it. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.